Jalen Hurts always delivers in the big game, but I'll also say something that probably resonates with you. I also don't think he has an elite arm. He throws a really nice deep ball, that's for sure. Everybody knows that. He can drive the ball vertically down the field. But when you shut that down in the intermediate part of the game, he fails to carve defenses down the field consistently. I feel like it's very big play reliant. That's not saying that he can't complete a ball over the middle, but he doesn't do it at the same caliber of a Matthew Stafford or a Joe Burrow. Now, he obviously has the athleticism over them, and when you need a play to win a game, it seems like Jalen Hurts always delivers. And I feel like he's gotten a lot of hate from a lot of people, but Philly fans also make it seem like he's the number 2 quarterback in the league. There is a clear and defined gap between Jalen Hurts and at least the top 4 quarterbacks in the league for me. Your Lamar, your Josh Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes, in my opinion, Jerm. I know we haven't gone over our top 10, top 5 lists, but for me, it's very clear, and it has nothing to do with winning and championships. It's a pure like skill, talent, eye test thing for me. When I watch Jalen Hurts, he's a phenomenal quarterback. I think he's very good. I would be fine if you put him anywhere 5 or below, but I just, as far as the arm go, I just don't think he matches the elite guys in the NFL.
Yeah, when this whole thing started after the Super Bowl, I made a kind of the whole Jalen Hurts thing. I said, listen, winning the Super Bowl is great for Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. It doesn't change where he is in the hierarchy of quarterbacks. He will always be somewhere, for me, in the 8 to 12 range, however you want to assess the quarterbacks. Eagles fans jumped down my throat. They wanted him to be the best. Oh, we outplayed Mahomes. We did this. And I said, I didn't know Mahomes played defense. I don't believe in quarterbacks can't outplay each other. They don't play each other. What one quarterback does on the field has nothing to do with the other quarterback. Case in point, Joe Burrow last year, who by all intents and purposes was the best quarterback in the league. The problem was they weren't winning any games. He had over 4,000 yards. He had a bunch of, I think he was the passing touchdown leader, but you can't say that because the team wasn't winning. And this is the problem when we analyze quarterbacks. Anytime people are defending Jalen Hurts to me, they're bringing up something that's not totally in his control. They bring up the wins. Tell me what he does better than the other good quarterbacks. Tell me has he ever had to lead a prolific offense? Has he had to carry a hurt team like Baker Mayfield has? Baker Mayfield has single-handedly won games. Has he had to lead a high-profile powered offense like Jared Goff has or Matt Stafford has? No. Now it's tongue-in-cheek. Is he holding the steering wheel? Maybe in 2022 he didn't, and that's what the Eagles fans like to bring up. But they still had an elite offensive line. They still had an elite defense. They still had elite pass catchers. And the only thing they were missing was Saquon Barkley. Surprise, surprise, they lost that Super Bowl. And they still had Miles Sanders, who was a 1,200-yard rusher. Then they forget that 2023 and 24 exists when they struggled mightily, when they didn't have all that stuff because of injuries and players leaving. And they didn't do as well because Jalen Hurts had to be the focal point, which, again, why I said he is a B-plus player. He's a game manager, and that's okay. He's probably the best game manager in the NFL. But the Eagles fans took that as a slight. That's the criticism of Jalen Hurts for me. Jalen Hurts could not take in Mac Hollins to the AFC title game like Josh Allen did. Josh Allen would have won a Super Bowl with last year's Eagles team. We could rattle off 12 names that could probably have won or at least gotten to the Super Bowl with that Eagles team. But you're going to sit there and tell me that Jalen Hurts could have had the success Josh Allen had winning the Jalen Hurts had Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown and almost won MVP. Josh Allen won MVP with Mac Hollins and Khalil Shakir. Like there's levels. There's levels to everything. Jalen Hurts is fine. He's in the good, not great pile. And that's fine. It's just, like you said, the Eagles fans want him to be elevated more than what he really is. And yes, he is a really good quarterback and he knows how to play within the system. But that's all it is for me. He's just a system guy.
Well, this is exactly what I was saying about Sirianni, is that when Philly won the Super Bowl, and I love the passion in Philly, Jerm, but the fans, they get out of control. Like, yes. There are some fans that understand, like, we have good players, and some players are are also good, but it's also a product of the system. It's also a product of the environment. Everybody in Philly, the second they won the Super Bowl, turned to gold. Zach Bond was the best linebacker in the league. A.J. Brown was the best receiver. Barkley was the best running back. Jalen Hurts the best quarterback, so on, so on. It's not necessarily the case. They had some really good players. They had an unbelievable team last year. They had probably a top 5 to top 10 player at every single position. But it doesn't mean that these guys are number 1 or number 2. And like you said, there are levels to this shit. And as a Josh Allen supporter, truther, as a Buffalo Bills fan, I'm sure you agree, Jerm, it is clear and cut that the talent, if you just put on film of Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen side by side, nobody on earth would even question the gap. It's very clearly there. So I love Jalen Hurts. I think he's a phenomenal quarterback. Like I said, I would have no problem with you arguing him from 5 to 10. Outside of that, you can make the argument, of course, there's obviously a lot of variables that go into quarterback play. But from an arm perspective, I just don't think he matches up with a guy like Stafford, who's 37 years old and throws 4 touchdowns for 3 straight weeks with no interceptions and just dissects defenses with his eyes, with his arm, everywhere. It's shocking what he can do. So that was my take on Jalen Hurts.